There is an hour in you that worry has never been able to own. It may have tried to fill every space around it. It may have written its name across your mornings, placed reminders inside your afternoons, and carried unfinished questions into the quietest part of your evenings. It may have convinced you that every open moment needed to be used for planning, predicting, checking, preparing, or protecting yourself from what could go wrong. Still, 1 hour remained untouched. Not an hour measured by a clock. An hour of inner space. A place within you where nothing has to be solved before you are permitted to breathe. A place where your future does not need to explain itself. A place where you are not required to know every turn before taking the next honest step. For a long time, your inner calendar may have felt completely booked. There was the hour reserved for thinking about what you should have said, the hour reserved for wondering whether you had waited too long, the hour reserved for comparing your progress with someone else's visible results. There were appointments with old disappointments, repeated conversations with imagined outcomes, and long private meetings with questions that had no immediate answer. You may have carried these appointments so faithfully that they began to feel like responsibilities. You thought you had to keep them. You thought worrying proved that you cared. You thought constant thought would make you ready. You thought rehearsing every possible loss might reduce the pain if one of those losses arrived. You thought staying mentally busy would prevent life from surprising you again. None of this makes you weak. It shows how seriously you have tried to protect what matters to you. It shows how much you have wanted to make wise choices. It shows how deeply you have wished to avoid repeating an old mistake. Yet your mind was never meant to remain in a permanent meeting with uncertainty. You are permitted to leave some spaces unassigned. You are permitted to stop scheduling fear into every quiet moment. You are permitted to let 1 hour remain open without immediately filling it with another prediction. This hour does not demand that you become careless. It does not ask you to ignore facts, postpone necessary decisions, or abandon the practical responsibilities that support your life. It asks for something much smaller. It asks whether you can create enough inner room to hear yourself clearly. You may have been searching for guidance while speaking over it with urgency. You may have been asking for direction while demanding that the answer arrive in the exact form you expected. You may have been trying to trust yourself while repeatedly checking whether someone else would approve of your next move. This can create a painful kind of confusion. The louder your need for certainty becomes, the more distant your own wisdom may seem. The harder you press for an immediate answer, the more every possibility begins to look like a warning. A simple choice starts carrying the weight of your entire future. A delay begins to feel like rejection. A change of plan feels like evidence that you were wrong. A quiet season feels like proof that nothing is happening. You may look for signs in every conversation. You may scroll through advice, searching for the sentence that removes all doubt. You may ask several people the same question, not because their first answers were unclear, but because no answer could provide the complete certainty you were seeking. You may replay the words of someone you respect, listening for a hidden instruction they never intended to give. You may watch what others are doing and use their timing as evidence against your own. You may decide that because another person moved quickly, your slower movement means you are falling behind. You may see someone gain an opportunity and quietly conclude that opportunity is becoming scarce. You may hear another person speak confidently and assume confidence always comes before action. Often, it does not. Many people take meaningful steps while still carrying questions. Many people begin before certainty arrives. Many people discover their direction through movement rather than getting a complete map beforehand. Your need for reassurance may have taught you to mistrust any guidance that feels quiet. You may expect truth to arrive with intensity. You may expect the right path to remove every uncomfortable emotion. You may expect inner direction to feel like perfect confidence, a dramatic realization, or an undeniable command. Sometimes clarity is far less theatrical. It can be the thought that continues returning after panic has settled. It can be the choice that respects both your values and the facts in front of you. It can be the boundary that leaves you sad but no longer divided against yourself. It can be the practical step you keep avoiding because it seems too ordinary to count as wisdom. It can be the honest conversation that does not guarantee the outcome you want, but ends the strain of pretending. It can be the decision to gather more information instead of forcing a conclusion. It can be rest. It can be action. It can be asking for qualified help. It can be admitting that you do not know yet. Not knowing is not the same as having no direction. A person can be uncertain about the full road and still recognize the next responsible step. You may already know more than you think. The difficulty may not be the absence of guidance. The difficulty may be that the guidance does not promise complete control. Part of you wants to know that the choice will work. Part of you wants evidence that your effort will be rewarded. Part of you wants protection from embarrassment, regret, loss, delay, and misunderstanding. That part of you is not foolish. It remembers. It remembers moments when you trusted and were disappointed. It remembers times when you acted with hope and the result did not match what you had imagined. It remembers promises that were broken. It remembers doors that appeared open and then closed without explanation. It remembers how exposed you felt when you believed something good was beginning. It remembers the effort required to recover after plans changed. Because it remembers, it watches closely. It questions hopeful thoughts. It asks for additional proof. It interrupts your excitement with caution. It turns possibilities around and examines every side. It tries to prevent you from being surprised by pain. You do not need to attack this protective part of yourself. You do not need to call it negative. You do not need to shame yourself for developing habits that once helped you feel safer. Protection often begins as an intelligent response to a real experience. A child who is repeatedly disappointed may learn not to expect much. A person whose needs were dismissed may learn to doubt their own perceptions. Someone who had to remain alert in an unpredictable environment may continue scanning for danger long after the environment has changed. A person who was criticized for making mistakes may try to eliminate uncertainty before choosing anything. Someone who experienced sudden loss may feel uneasy during peaceful periods because peace once came before an unwelcome change. These patterns do not mean there is something fundamentally wrong with you. They mean your mind learned from what happened. It tried to form rules. Do not become too hopeful. Do not decide too quickly. Do not relax until everything is confirmed. Do not trust the first feeling. Do not believe good news until it is permanent. Do not celebrate too soon. Do not depend on anyone. Do not make the same mistake again. Some of these rules may have reduced risk at one point in your life. Some may still contain useful wisdom. Careful evaluation matters. Discernment matters. Healthy skepticism can protect you from manipulation. Planning can prevent avoidable problems. Seeking reliable information can improve your decisions. Boundaries can preserve your dignity and safety. The goal is not to remove every protective instinct. The goal is to recognize when protection has become so constant that it blocks your ability to think, rest, respond, and grow. There is a difference between checking the facts and repeatedly checking, because no amount of evidence feels sufficient. There is a difference between preparing for a difficult possibility and mentally living through it every day. There is a difference between learning from the past and asking the past to make every future decision. There is a difference between caution and permanent hesitation. There is a difference between patience and abandoning yourself while you wait for someone else to choose. There is a difference between openness and agreeing to conditions that repeatedly harm you. You can strengthen your inner direction without becoming naive. You can become more hopeful without ignoring reality. You can leave an inner hour open while still keeping important appointments in the outer world. This is not a demand to believe that every desire will be fulfilled. It is not a promise that calm thoughts will control circumstances. It is not an instruction to pretend that painful realities are secretly pleasant. Your life may contain responsibilities that cannot be solved by a change of perspective alone. You may be facing financial strain, grief, conflict, illness, exhaustion, unsafe conditions, or decisions with serious consequences. In those situations, practical action matters. Reliable information matters. Professional support may matter. Legal, financial, medical, or psychological guidance may be appropriate depending on what you are carrying. These practices can support openness, steadiness, and clearer reflection, but they are not magic guarantees. and they are not substitutes for real action or qualified professional care when life is heavy. You deserve support that respects the full reality of your circumstances. You also deserve moments when your circumstances are not permitted to occupy every room inside you. Even while taking necessary action, you can practice meeting yourself without constant accusation. You can ask, "What do I know right now?" You can ask, "What remains uncertain?" You can ask, "What is mine to do today?" You can ask, "Which part of this decision requires more information?" You can ask, "Am I responding to present evidence, or am I reliving an older fear?" You can ask, "What choice would respect my safety, my values, and my future self?" These questions do not force instant clarity. They create conditions in which clarity has a better chance of being recognized. For much of your life, you may have believed that strengthening your mind meant becoming harder. You may have thought strength required shutting down emotion, refusing rest, or pushing through every internal warning. You may have tried to overpower doubt with louder thoughts. You may have repeated hopeful sentences while another part of you remained unheard and unconvinced. You may have judged yourself whenever fear returned. You may have assumed that a strong person would never need reassurance. Real strength can be quieter. It can include the courage to listen to fear without letting fear become the only voice in the room. It can include changing your mind after gaining better information. It can include remaining with a meaningful decision after the first wave of uncertainty appears. It can include recognizing that discomfort does not automatically mean danger. It can include recognizing that excitement does not automatically mean wisdom. It can include taking time. It can include ending delay. It can include speaking. It can include becoming still enough to separate your values from the noise surrounding them. Your inner guidance is not required to compete with every opinion you have collected. Some opinions were offered by people who love you, but see life through their own fears. Some came from people who succeeded under conditions different from yours. Some came from people who wanted you to remain predictable because your change would require them to adjust. Some came from people who confused control with care. Some advice was useful. Some advice belonged to another life. Some advice helped you survive a previous chapter, but cannot lead the chapter opening now. You are allowed to examine what you have been told. You are allowed to keep what remains true. You are allowed to release what no longer fits. You do not have to reject everyone in order to return to yourself. You do not have to prove that others were wrong. You only need enough honesty to recognize which voices leave you clearer and which voices leave you separated from your own judgment. A trustworthy voice does not always tell you what you hoped to hear. It may challenge you. It may ask you to accept responsibility. It may ask you to apologize, prepare, study, save, leave, wait, speak, or seek assistance. Yet even when it challenges you, it does not destroy your dignity. It does not tell you that you are worthless. It does not insist that one mistake has ruined your future. It does not use panic as proof. It does not demand that you betray your values to avoid temporary discomfort. Inner wisdom may be firm, but it is not cruel. Fear often repeats itself rapidly. Wisdom tends to become clearer when you stop arguing with the moment. Fear says everything must be decided now. Wisdom asks what truly requires a decision today. Fear says one wrong step will destroy every possibility. Wisdom remembers that many choices can be reviewed, adjusted, repaired, or redirected. Fear says another person's certainty should replace your own judgment. Wisdom respects expertise without surrendering your responsibility to think. Fear says delay always means failure. Wisdom considers timing, preparation, capacity, and conditions. Fear says movement is always progress. Wisdom knows that some movement is avoidance. Fear says stillness is always stagnation. Wisdom knows that some stillness is where fragmented thought becomes whole again. You may not always separate these voices immediately. That is all right. Discernment develops through practice. You learn by observing what follows each kind of thought. When you obey panic, do you become more capable, or do you become more scattered? When you follow a grounded instinct, even before the outcome is known, do you feel more honest? When you delay an important step, does the delay create useful preparation, or does it deepen the strain? When you speak with someone trustworthy, do you feel pressured into their conclusion or supported in reaching your own? When you imagine the next month, are you responding to evidence or creating a punishment for yourself in advance? This is how you begin to rebuild trust, not by promising that you will never misjudge anything again, not by demanding perfect intuition, not by treating every strong feeling as a message. You rebuild trust by becoming someone who remains present with yourself before, during, and after a decision. You learn that even when an outcome disappoints you, you will not abandon yourself. You learn that you can evaluate what happened without turning the experience into a verdict on your worth. You learn that correction is available. You learn that help can be requested. You learn that a changed plan is not always a failed plan. You learn that uncertainty can be carried without giving it complete authority. This changes the quality of your decisions. When you know you will support yourself afterward, you no longer require every choice to be risk-free. When you know you can respond to new information, you do not need to predict everything in advance. When you know you are permitted to pause, you become less vulnerable to pressure. When you know you can leave what becomes harmful, openness no longer feels like helplessness. When you know your worth is not decided by one result, your mind becomes more available for honest thought. Perhaps you have spent many years asking, what is the perfect choice? A more useful question may be, what is the most honest choice available with what I know now? Perfection demands knowledge no human being possesses. Honesty works with the present. Honesty can say, I want this, and I also see the risk. Honesty can say, I am afraid, but fear is not the only information available. Honesty can say, I need more time. Honesty can say, I have already waited long enough. Honesty can say, This opportunity looks good, but the conditions do not respect me. Honesty can say, this step is difficult, but it supports the life I am trying to build. Honesty can say, I made a mistake. Honesty can say, I am learning. Honesty can say, I cannot do this alone. Honesty can say, I do not need everyone to understand. The mind grows stronger when it is no longer forced to defend an image of perfection. It becomes steadier when truth is safer than performance. It becomes clearer when you stop using every emotion as evidence for or against a decision. You can feel afraid and still be moving wisely. You can feel excited and still need to examine the details. You can feel sad and still know that a boundary is right. You can feel relieved and still grieve what has ended. You can miss someone and still recognize that returning would not be healthy. You can love a possibility and still decide that its present form is not suitable. Emotional complexity does not mean you lack direction. It means you are human enough to carry more than one truth at a time. The pressure to feel only one thing has made many decisions harder than they needed to be. You waited to feel completely confident. You waited to stop caring. You waited for all sadness to disappear. You waited for everyone to agree. You waited for a moment when action would carry no emotional cost. That moment rarely comes. A meaningful choice may still include grief. A wise boundary may still include guilt. A necessary beginning may still include doubt. A loving decision may still disappoint someone. A courageous step may still leave your hands unsteady. Strength is not the absence of these responses. Strength is your growing ability to remain connected to what matters while they move through you. Your mind does not become stronger through constant force. It becomes stronger through a more dependable relationship with truth. You begin to trust that you will look at the facts. You will listen to your body without treating every sensation as prophecy. You will seek informed support when needed. You will consider consequences. You will acknowledge desire. You will respect limits. You will give important choices enough time without turning reflection into endless postponement. You will recognize when urgency belongs to the situation and when it has been created by fear. You will act when action is yours. You will wait when waiting is wise. This is not glamorous work. Most inner change is not. It happens in ordinary moments. You close one unnecessary search tab. You decide not to ask a fifth person the same question. You write down what you know instead of continuing to circle what you do not. You schedule the appointment. You review the document. You make the call. You sleep before answering. You check the numbers. You say no. You say yes. You say you need clarification. You admit that you have been hoping someone else would make the choice for you. You recognize that their choice could never remove your responsibility for what follows. These moments begin reopening the inner hour. At first, the space may feel uncomfortable. A mind accustomed to constant planning may interpret quiet as danger. You may sit without searching for an answer and feel an immediate impulse to reach for your phone. You may stop rehearsing a conversation and discover the emotion beneath the rehearsal. You may postpone a non-urgent decision until morning and feel as though you are being irresponsible. You may decline to predict an outcome and feel briefly unprepared. This does not mean the practice is failing. It means an old habit has been interrupted. You are learning that readiness is not the same as continuous mental activity. You are learning that care is not measured by how many hours you worry. You are learning that love does not require you to imagine every disaster. You are learning that responsibility can include rest. You are learning that an open space is not an empty life. An open space can hold observation. It can hold prayer without bargaining. It can hold a question without forcing an answer. It can hold hope without attaching a deadline. It can hold a decision that is still forming. It can hold a future you cannot yet describe. You do not need to fill this hour with positive declarations that your present self cannot believe. You do not need to force certainty into it. You do not need to perform peace. Let the hour be honest. Let it contain the sentence, "I am willing to hear more clearly." Let it contain, "I can take one responsible step." Let it contain, "I do not know everything, and I am still here." Let it contain, "My past can inform me without governing every choice." Let it contain, "I can respect fear without appointing it as my guide." These sentences do not deny difficulty. They create a steadier place from which to meet it. You may have believed that following inner direction required one dramatic act of faith. More often, it is built through small acts of self-respect. You stop agreeing while resentment grows inside you. You stop calling exhaustion laziness. You stop pretending that a situation is unclear when the truth is merely inconvenient. You stop treating another person's disappointment as automatic proof that you have done something wrong. You stop treating your own discomfort as automatic proof that you should turn back. You begin checking whether your choices match the values you claim to hold. You begin choosing environments where honesty is not punished. You begin protecting time for thought before major commitments. You begin distinguishing compassion from self-erasure. You begin recognizing that helping someone does not require carrying what belongs to them. You begin listening when the same grounded concern returns after temporary emotion has passed. You begin trusting patterns, not promises alone. You begin watching actions, including your own. The result is not a life without uncertainty. It is a life in which uncertainty no longer receives every appointment. A life in which questions can exist beside purpose. A life in which patience does not mean powerlessness. A life in which you can prepare without living in dread. A life in which your mind supports your movement rather than interrogating every step. 1 hour is opening now. You do not need to decorate it. You do not need to prove that something extraordinary will enter it. You do not need to decide what it must produce. Leave it open long enough to discover what becomes audible when pressure is no longer speaking first. There may be a simple truth beneath the noise. There may be a practical step you already recognize. There may be a boundary that has waited for your support. There may be a hope you have judged too quickly. There may be an old plan ready to be revised. There may be a new possibility that does not resemble what you expected. There may be no answer today. Even that can be met. You are not failing when clarity takes time. You are learning to remain available without forcing the arrival. You are learning to value steadiness over spectacle. You are learning that direction can strengthen before certainty appears. You are learning that a mind does not become trustworthy by knowing everything. It becomes trustworthy by meeting what is true, responding with care, and staying present for what comes next. The inner hour remains open. Nothing is chasing you inside it. Nothing is demanding a performance. For this moment, you are not late. You are listening. The space you have opened is not waiting to be filled with another demand. It is not asking you to become more impressive, more certain, or more spiritually accomplished. It is not a test of whether you can maintain perfect thoughts. It is not an invisible examination in which one fearful moment cancels every hopeful one. This space exists so you can relate to your life more honestly. For many years, you may have understood inner harmony as a state you had to earn. You may have believed you would reach it after fixing every weakness, resolving every doubt, and becoming completely sure of what should happen next. This made peace feel like a reward placed at the end of an endless process. First, you had to become confident. Then you had to remove hesitation. Then you had to understand every lesson from the past. Then you had to stop reacting emotionally. Then you had to develop complete trust. Only after all of this, you imagined, would you be ready to hear the direction that had always seemed available to other people. But inner harmony does not require a perfected personality. It does not begin when fear disappears. It begins when you stop asking fear to disappear before you can live truthfully. It is the meeting of three simple realities. You are becoming ready. You are remaining open. Life has its own timing. Readiness is not perfection. Readiness means you are willing to see what is actually in front of you. It means you are prepared to learn, adjust, and respond. It means you are willing to take responsibility for the part that belongs to you without assuming responsibility for everything. It means you can acknowledge what you want while staying available to information that may change how you pursue it. Openness is not passivity. It is not waiting for circumstances to improve while refusing every practical step. It is not accepting disrespect because you hope patience will transform another person. It is not abandoning discernment. Openness means you do not close every possibility before it has been examined. It means you can hold a hope without gripping one exact form. It means you can recognize that a useful answer may challenge your first preference. It means you can be devoted to a meaningful direction without insisting that every detail unfold according to your original plan. Timing is not a punishment. A delay does not automatically mean you are unworthy. A quick result does not automatically mean you have chosen wisely. Some decisions require immediate action. Some require preparation. Some answers become visible only after new information arrives. Some opportunities can be recognized only after you have developed the strength to meet them responsibly. Some endings need time before their meaning can be understood. You cannot control all timing. You can participate in it. You can prepare. You can practice. You can gather information. You can make room. You can stop feeding the habits that keep you too exhausted to recognize what is available. You can respond when a responsible opening appears. This is a more grounded understanding of inner harmony. It is readiness without self-punishment, openness without self-abandonment, timing without superstition. It does not require you to believe that every event has been arranged specifically for you. It does not ask you to call every coincidence a message. It does not turn disappointment into evidence that your thoughts were defective. It does not claim that sufficient faith can control other people, remove every obstacle, or guarantee a particular result. Life remains complex. Other people retain their choices. Systems have real effects. Health, money, opportunity, safety, education, location, and support can influence what is possible. A calm mind does not erase these realities. It can help you meet them with greater clarity. A steady mind can recognize resources that panic overlooks. It can ask better questions. It can tolerate the discomfort of learning something new. It can compare options without turning each option into a prediction of disaster. It can accept support. It can recognize when a situation requires courage and when it requires caution. It can stay connected to values during uncertainty. This is why strengthening your inner foundation matters. Not because it makes life obey you, because it helps you remain present enough to participate wisely in the life you have. You may have been taught to look for dramatic proof, a sudden opening, an unmistakable signal, a complete reversal. A moment in which every doubt disappears and the correct road shines so brightly that no decision is required. Such moments can happen, but they are not the only form of direction. More often, life rearranges itself quietly. A conversation gives you one useful fact. A repeated concern becomes impossible to dismiss. An old desire loses its urgency. A new interest continues returning. A boundary brings relief after months of tension. A practical opportunity appears ordinary but stable. A plan that once seemed perfect begins to feel too narrow. A person's actions clarify what their words could not. A skill you developed for one reason becomes useful in another area. An answer comes through accumulation rather than revelation. Nothing flashes. Nothing announces itself. Yet your understanding changes. You look at the same circumstances and see them differently. This is not less meaningful because it is quiet. A life can turn through a series of small recognitions. You notice where your energy consistently disappears. You recognize which commitments support your values and which exist mainly to preserve someone else's image of you. You identify the tasks you keep postponing because completing them would make change real. You see that the obstacle is not always a lack of ability. Sometimes it is loyalty to an older identity. Sometimes it is fear of being visible. Sometimes it is exhaustion. Sometimes it is missing information. Sometimes it is a situation that truly is not safe or suitable. Clarity does not always tell you to continue. Sometimes it tells you to reconsider. Sometimes it tells you to stop investing in an outcome that repeatedly requires you to ignore evidence. Sometimes it tells you to begin again with a smaller, more realistic step. Sometimes it tells you that you have been asking the wrong question. You may have been asking, "How do I make this work?" The more useful question may be, "Is this still mine to make work?" You may have been asking, "How do I become acceptable here?" The deeper question may be, "Why must I reduce myself to remain here?" You may have been asking, "How do I remove all fear?" The wiser question may be, "Which fear carries information and which fear repeats an old lesson?" You may have been asking, "When will my life finally begin?" A kinder question may be, "What part of my life is asking for my presence now?" These questions do not always bring comfortable answers. They bring usable ones. An honest answer can become a beginning even when it is not the answer you hope to hear. There is a knot. Her habit that may have made guidance difficult to recognize. You may have confused intensity with truth. A thought arrives loudly, and because it creates a strong physical response, you assume it must be important. A fear repeats all day, and repetition begins to look like evidence. An exciting possibility appears, and the force of your desire makes careful evaluation seem unnecessary. An urgent request comes from someone else, and their urgency enters your body as though it were your responsibility. Intensity can carry information, but it is not always wisdom. Some intense thoughts are the mind's attempt to protect you from uncertainty. Some are reactions to sleep loss, stress, conflict, or prolonged pressure. Some come from old experiences that resemble the present without being identical to it. Some are amplified by the opinions surrounding you. Some are created by scarcity, the belief that you must decide immediately because no other chance will come. Wise discernment gives intensity time to settle when the situation permits. It checks the facts. It separates what is known from what is assumed. It asks whether the same conclusion remains after rest. It considers whether trusted expertise is needed. It does not insult emotion. It gives emotion a place without giving it unquestioned control. Your deeper direction may still contain strong feeling. The difference is that it can survive examination. It does not collapse when you ask practical questions. It does not require you to ignore obvious risks. It does not demand secrecy from everyone who cares about your safety. It does not promise that normal rules no longer apply to you. It does not make you superior to people who choose differently. It may still be courageous. It may still be unconventional. It may still require a step no one else can take for you. But it can stand beside reality. The strongest decisions often contain both inspiration and responsibility. You feel drawn and you prepare. You sense that change is needed and you examine the consequences. You recognize an opening and you read the agreement. You trust your capacity and you ask for advice in areas where you lack knowledge. You respect your inner voice and you remain willing to learn. This combination may feel less dramatic than blind certainty. It is more dependable. You are not being asked to become a person who never questions. You are becoming someone whose questions serve understanding instead of endless avoidance. A useful question opens movement. A fear-driven question often produces another question, and then another, until the original decision is buried beneath possibilities too numerous to evaluate. You ask whether the plan is wise, then whether you are capable, then whether your timing is wrong, then whether another person knows something you do not, then whether your uncertainty is a sign to stop, then whether stopping would become your greatest regret. Soon, Tate. The question is no longer about the plan. It has become a demand for protection from every future emotion. No answer can provide that. Any meaningful life includes moments of disappointment, revision, effort, misunderstanding, and surprise. The aim is not to construct a future in which nothing difficult happens. The aim is to build a relationship with yourself that can remain intact when difficulty happens. This inner relationship is part of readiness. You trust that you will not use one setback as permission to attack your entire identity. You trust that you can learn without humiliating yourself. You trust that you can admit when something is not working. You trust that you can ask for help before a problem becomes unbearable. You trust that you can grieve an outcome without deciding that hope was a mistake. You trust that you can begin again without pretending the first attempt never mattered. This trust makes room for movement. You no longer need the future to guarantee your emotional safety. You begin creating safety through the way you meet yourself. That does not make every risk appropriate. It makes evaluation clearer. A frightened mind may avoid a healthy risk and remain in a harmful certainty. A restless mind may chase a dangerous risk because stillness feels unbearable. A strengthened mind can examine both. It can ask what the choice costs. It can ask what avoiding the choice costs. It can consider short-term relief and long-term consequence. It can recognize that familiarity is not the same as safety. It can recognize that novelty is not the same as growth. It can remain with complexity long enough for a more complete answer to form. There are places where time performs work that force cannot perform. Deep beneath the visible ground, a bamboo forest can appear almost unchanged for years. Season after season passes. Rain comes and leaves. Sunlight moves across the land. Wind travels through the leaves. The forest continues living, but its largest event does not arrive according to the impatience of anyone watching. Some bamboo waits for decades before flowering. In the image you are holding, 60 years may pass. A human being can build a life within that span. Children can become grandparents. Homes can be raised, changed, and rebuilt. Whole communities can watch the same forest through different chapters. Still, beneath the appearance of ordinary repetition, a timing is being kept. No hand turns a hidden dial. No voice commands the forest to hurry. No single stalk stands above the others and announces that it has developed a superior method. The waiting is not empty. Roots remain engaged with the soil. Water is taken in. Light is used. Growth continues in forms that are not always visible to the person expecting flowers. Then the season comes. Across wide distances, bamboo belonging to the same rhythm begins to bloom. Not because someone has forced each plant into agreement, not because every day of the previous decades showed obvious progress toward that moment. The flowering arrives from an order carried quietly through the living structure. Whole stretches of forest respond. What seemed separate reveals a shared timing. What seemed inactive reveals long preparation. What seemed delayed becomes visible all at once. You do not need to turn this image into a promise about your circumstances. You do not need to believe that every long wait will end in the exact outcome you desire. The forest offers a different lesson. Visible results are not the only evidence of development. There are seasons in which the most important work is not dramatic. A belief is being reconsidered. A skill is becoming more reliable. A boundary is gaining strength. A pattern is becoming easier to recognize. Your tolerance for confusion is decreasing. Your capacity to speak honestly is increasing. You are becoming less attracted to what once kept you emotionally occupied. You are learning to recognize consistency. You are beginning to value peace that does not require denial. You are building a life that can hold what you say you want. These changes may not look like flowering. They may look like repetition. Another morning in which you return to the same practice. Another conversation in which you choose not to disappear. Another application. Another lesson. Another attempt to organize what has felt unmanageable. Another day in which the result remains unseen. The mind may call this nothing. It is not nothing. A forest does not become inactive because a visitor cannot see its preparation. You do not become stagnant merely because your development is not producing immediate public evidence. The question is not only, has the result appeared? Another question matters. Am I still participating in meaningful growth? Waiting and participation are not opposites. You can wait for conditions you cannot control while strengthening the conditions that belong to you. You can wait for an answer while gathering accurate information. You can wait for an opportunity while developing the skill it may require. You can wait for grief to change while accepting support. You can wait for trust to rebuild while observing consistent behavior. You can wait for clarity while refusing to manufacture certainty. This is active patience. It is not glamorous. It does not always create a story that others understand. From the outside, one season may resemble another. Inside, your roots may be learning a completely different relationship with the ground. Old urgency may still visit you. It may look at the quiet months and call them wasted. It may point toward someone else's visible flowering and accuse your life of being late. It may tell you that faster means more worthy. It may tell you that if your progress cannot be displayed, it does not exist. The bamboo does not consult the neighboring tree. It does not abandon its nature because another plant flowers every year. Its rhythm is not an argument against another rhythm. Difference does not create failure. You have spent enough time measuring your interior life against outcomes produced under circumstances you do not fully know. You see the moment another person's work becomes visible. You do not see every year that preceded it. You see the announcement. You do not see every revision. You see the confidence of the final decision. You do not see the private uncertainty that accompanied the earlier steps. You see the flower. You do not see the roots. Comparison removes context. It places two visible moments beside each other and calls them complete stories. Your life cannot be understood that way. Your timing contains responsibilities, resources, limitations, relationships, losses, abilities, and opportunities that do not belong to anyone else in the same arrangement. This does not mean you should avoid learning from others. Their experience may contain useful information. Their discipline may inspire you. Their mistakes may save you time. Their example may reveal a possibility you had not considered, but their calendar cannot become your command. You can admire another season without declaring war on your own. The forest does not spend 60 years apologizing. It continues its work. There is dignity in that. There is dignity in preparation that does not demand applause. There is dignity in choosing stability over a performance of rapid progress. There is dignity in returning to a practice after enthusiasm fades. There is dignity in reviewing your direction without calling every revision a failure. You may discover that part of your exhaustion came from trying to make your life flower on someone else's schedule. You forced conversations before trust was present. You accepted opportunities before capacity was available. You announced plans before they had roots. You tried to forgive before your pain had been honestly acknowledged. You tried to appear healed because others were uncomfortable with your process. You tried to make a decision while your body was still recovering from the event that required it. You tried to be ready because the calendar said enough time had passed. Time alone does not create readiness. How you live within time matters. 60 years of avoidance would not become preparation merely because 60 years passed. Patience is not the worship of delay. The bamboo remains alive within its waiting. It exchanges with its environment. It responds to seasons. It continues the ordinary processes that sustain it. Your patience also needs life inside it. A dream cannot be supported by postponement alone. A relationship cannot be repaired by time without changed behavior. A financial goal cannot be reached by hope without practical choices. A skill cannot develop through intention without practice. A harmful situation does not become safe because you have endured it patiently. Your inner direction may ask you to wait, but wise waiting has content. It includes preparation, observation, restoration, or the acceptance of a condition you cannot accelerate. It does not ask you to remain indefinitely where your dignity, health, or safety is being damaged. This distinction matters. Some people have been praised for patience when they were actually being asked to abandon themselves. They were told to remain quiet. They were told to understand everyone else's behavior. They were told that endurance would prove love. They were told that leaving would reveal a lack of faith. They were told to wait for someone who was making no effort to change. That is not the patience being offered here. A forest waits within conditions that continue to support life. When the ground no longer supports life, wisdom includes seeking different conditions when that is possible. Your openness has boundaries. Your hope has eyes. Your compassion includes you. You can believe in growth without offering unlimited access to someone who repeatedly causes harm. You can wish another person well and still step away. You can accept that change is possible without building your life around the possibility that someone else may eventually choose it. You can recognize potential while making decisions based on present behavior. This is not coldness, it is maturity. Your mind becomes stronger when it stops using imagined futures to excuse damaging presents. The bamboo image does not ask you to wait for every barren place to become fertile. It asks you to respect the difference between hidden development and repeated evidence of decline. Hidden development still contains signs of life. There is effort, there is learning, there is responsiveness, there is a growing capacity. There may be setbacks, but there is movement in the underlying structure. Decline also leaves evidence. Promises repeat without action. Harm is minimized. Responsibility is avoided. Your reality is denied. Your boundaries are punished. The same cycle returns without meaningful repair. Inner wisdom does not require you to rename this pattern as preparation. You are permitted to see what you see. The stronger mindset you are building is not a collection of pleasing thoughts placed over difficult facts. It is the ability to remain with facts without becoming consumed by them. It is the ability to respond without adding unnecessary cruelty. It is the ability to preserve possibility while respecting evidence. This balance can feel unfamiliar. You may swing between extremes. One day, you believe everything will work exactly as hoped. The next, you decide nothing can improve. One moment, you trust completely. The next, you withdraw from every possibility. This movement is understandable. The mind often travels between certainty and despair when it has not yet learned how to live with the unknown. A more stable place exists between them. You can hope and assess. You can want and question. You can prepare and rest. You can continue and revise. You can remain open without making promises about what you cannot control. This middle place may seem less powerful because it does not speak in absolutes. It is stronger because it can adapt. A rigid belief breaks when reality contradicts it. A grounded belief can change form while preserving its deepest value. You may believe a particular opportunity is the only path toward meaningful work. When it closes, rigidity says the future is over. Grounded hope grieves the loss and asks what need, value, or ability made that opportunity important. The outer form may change. The deeper direction may remain. You may believe one relationship is the only place where love can be known. When it ends, rigidity says love has left your life. Grounded hope does not deny the grief. It also refuses to make one person the permanent owner of your ability to love and be loved. You may believe a specific timeline is necessary for your life to have meaning. When the timeline changes, rigidity says you have missed your chance. Grounded hope acknowledges real limits while continuing to search for honest possibilities within the life that remains. This is expectation without a deadline. It is not expectation without action. It is the willingness to believe that good can still take forms you have not planned. It does not tell life what hour it must arrive. It keeps 1 hour open. The bamboo forest does not bloom every morning to reassure the observer that its rhythm still exists. It does not offer daily proof. For decades, the visible scene may remain almost the same. Trusting such a rhythm would be difficult if trust meant constant confirmation. But trust is not the demand for repeated reassurance. Trust is the willingness to remain in relationship with what is true even during periods when the final form cannot be seen. In your own life, this may mean continuing a responsible practice before it produces recognition. It may mean honoring recovery before you feel fully restored. It may mean treating yourself with respect before confidence feels natural. It may mean building savings slowly. It may mean studying when no one is praising your effort. It may mean learning to communicate differently, even if the people around you continue using old patterns. It may mean creating work before an audience arrives. It may mean becoming dependable to yourself in private. These are root years. They are not lesser years. They are not a hallway outside your real life. They are your life. Do not postpone your right to experience meaning until the flower appears. The forest is alive before flowering. You are alive before the outcome. You are worthy of care before the evidence. You are permitted to appreciate progress that has not yet become visible to others. There may be a quieter question waiting beneath your urgency. Not, when will everything happen? But, how do I wish to live while it is still becoming? This question returns your power without pretending you control the entire result. You can choose the quality of your participation. You can choose whether your waiting becomes self-neglect or preparation. You can choose whether uncertainty becomes constant punishment or an invitation to stay awake to reality. You can choose whether another person's pace becomes a weapon against you. You can choose whether one delay becomes a permanent identity. You can choose whether your inner calendar remains filled with appointments that produce no wisdom. 1 hour is still open. Perhaps this hour is not for finding an answer. Perhaps it is for becoming someone who can recognize the answer without forcing it. Perhaps it is for releasing the belief that slow growth is failed growth. Perhaps it is for seeing that your deeper direction has been developing through choices too ordinary to celebrate. The time you took to recover, the truth you finally admitted, the boundary you began practicing, the skill you kept returning to, the advice you sought from a trustworthy source, the habit you reduced, the responsibility you accepted, the apology you offered, the apology you stopped waiting to hear before continuing your life. Each act has entered the living structure beneath your visible days. Nothing honest is wasted. Not every effort produces the result you intended, but every honest effort can teach you how to meet the next season with greater clarity. The forest does not explain itself during the long interval. It keeps living. You do not need to explain every quiet season either. You can let your preparation remain private. You can protect new growth from opinions that would pull it apart before it becomes stable. You can speak when speaking supports you. You can remain silent when explanation would only invite interference. You can let consistency become your answer. There will be time for flowering. There is also a sacred usefulness in the years that teach the roots what they can hold. The roots do not spend the hidden years wondering whether they deserve the season ahead. They continue their quiet exchange with the earth. They take what nourishes them. They release what has completed its purpose. They strengthen the unseen structure that will one day support what becomes visible. You can begin relating to your own mind in this way, not as a machine that must produce certainty on command, not as an enemy that must be defeated whenever doubt appears, not as a room that must remain bright every hour. Your mind is a living structure. It is shaped by what you repeatedly feed it. It is influenced by the questions you keep asking, the environments you remain within, the stories you rehearse, the support you accept, and the actions you take when no one is watching. A strong mind is not built through one powerful thought. It is formed through many ordinary returns. You return from comparison. You return from catastrophe. You return from the imagined conversation. You return from the future where everything has already gone wrong. You return from the old memory that has dressed itself in today's clothes. You return to what is here. You return to the next honest action. Each return strengthens the path. At first, this may not feel like strength. You may return to the present and discover that the present still contains difficulty. The bill remains. The conversation is still needed. The decision is still uncertain. The grief has not disappeared. The work has not completed itself while you were breathing. Returning does not remove reality. It places you where reality can be met. The imagined future cannot be handled because it has not happened. The repeated past cannot be changed because it has already happened. The present offers a narrower field. One email, one boundary, one page, one appointment, one question asked of someone qualified to answer it. One evening in which you do not punish yourself for needing rest. One decision not to turn a temporary feeling into a permanent conclusion. This narrower field is not small. It is where your influence lives. The mind often resists this because it has become accustomed to large, dramatic problems. It wants to solve your whole life before breakfast. It wants to predict every reaction before you speak. It wants to know whether today's effort will still matter years from now. It wants assurance that the person you are becoming will be accepted by everyone who knew the earlier version of you. When those assurances are unavailable, the mind may interpret uncertainty as a command to stop. You can answer differently. You can say, I do not need the whole season to care for today's roots. You can say, I do not need complete certainty to take a careful step. You can say, I can review my direction as new information appears. These are not slogans designed to overpower fear. They are practical permissions. They reduce the impossible demand that you know the future before participating in it. The bamboo does not possess a picture of every day between planting and flowering. Its life is carried through repeated contact with what sustains it. Your direction can also be carried through contact. Contact with your values. Contact with accurate information. Contact with the consequences of your choices. Contact with the way your body responds after urgency has settled. Contact with people who respect your capacity to think. Contact with the difference between temporary discomfort and ongoing harm. Inner direct. Mission is strengthened through relationship with reality. It becomes less reliable when it is separated from reality and treated as a private command that no evidence may question. You may have encountered advice that told you never to doubt a first instinct. But first instincts are shaped by many things: experience, bias, fear, wisdom, fatigue, habit, desire, a learned survival response. Sometimes your first instinct protects you accurately. Sometimes it protects an old wound from a situation that only resembles the past. Sometimes it recognizes something your conscious thought has not yet explained. Sometimes it simply wants relief. You do not dishonor yourself by examining it. Examination can be a form of respect. You can ask, what is this response trying to protect? You can ask, what evidence supports it? You can ask, what evidence complicates it? You can ask, does this conclusion remain after sleep, food, distance, and calm? You can ask, would I advise someone I love to act on this immediately? You can ask, is there a safe way to gather more information? The answers may confirm your first response. They may refine it. They may reveal that the message was not, leave everything now, but stop ignoring this pattern. They may reveal that the message was not, you will fail, but you need preparation. They may reveal that the message was not, this person is dangerous, but this boundary needs to be stated. They may reveal that the message was not, the opportunity is wrong, but the pace is too fast. A mind that can refine its interpretations is not weak. It is becoming precise. Precision is a quieter form of strength than certainty. Certainty often makes a complete statement with incomplete information. Precision names what is known and leaves room around what is not. It says, this behavior concerns me, rather than, I know exactly what this person will do. It says, I need more evidence, rather than, nothing can be trusted. It says, this direction matters to me, rather than, it must unfold in one form. It says, I am not ready today, rather than, I will never be ready. It says, this result hurt, rather than, everything I hoped for was foolish. Precise language changes your inner environment. The mind listens to the way you name your life. When every difficulty becomes a disaster, the body prepares for disaster. When every delay becomes rejection, the heart experiences rejection repeatedly. When every mistake becomes identity, learning becomes dangerous. When every uncertain feeling becomes a warning, movement becomes nearly impossible. You do not need to make your language artificially cheerful. You can make it accurate. This is difficult, may be true. This will destroy everything, may be fear extending beyond the facts. I am disappointed, may be true. Nothing good ever happens, for me, may be pain trying to turn one moment into a permanent law. I need support, may be true. I should already know how to do this alone, may be an inherited demand. This path is taking longer than expected, may be true. I have missed my life. May be comparison speaking with the voice of final judgment. Accuracy creates room. It does not promise an easy outcome. It prevents one painful fact from occupying the whole inner calendar. This is one way the mind is strengthened. You teach it that truth does not require exaggeration. You teach it that a feeling can be intense without becoming a prophecy. You teach it that disappointment can be carried without becoming despair. You teach it that uncertainty can remain specific. There is a great difference between saying, I do not know what will happen in this situation, and saying, I do not know how to live. The first may be accurate. The second gives one unknown power over your entire existence. Bring the unknown back to its proper size. This answer is not clear yet. This relationship requires observation. This application has not been decided. This plan needs more preparation. This loss is still being grieved. This chapter is changing. You do not have to solve uncertainty by making it larger. You can place it within the wider truth of your life. There are things you know what you value. You know which treatment you can no longer call acceptable. You know that sleep affects your thinking. You know that repeated avoidance increases certain problems. You know which people consistently bring clarity and which bring confusion. You know that some tasks become easier after they are begun. You know that your mind speaks differently when you are exhausted. You know that your future cannot be built entirely through imagined conversations. You know that help exists in forms you may not have considered. Begin with what you know. Let what you know support you while what you do not know remains open. The bamboo forest does not require every condition to remain identical. Storms come. Dry periods come. The ground changes. Branches break. Light reaches different places. The hidden rhythm does not make the forest immune to conditions. It lives in relationship with them. Your inner rhythm also exists within real conditions. There may be seasons when your capacity is lower. A season of illness may change what progress looks like. Caregiving may require a different pace. Financial pressure may narrow your choices. Grief may make concentration difficult. Recovery may require energy that once went toward ambition. A major transition may leave you unable to perform at your usual level. Do not use your most productive season as a weapon against your most demanding one. Strength does not always look like expansion. Sometimes it looks like preservation. You keep one promise to yourself instead of 10. You complete the essential task and release the necessary performance. You ask for an extension. You simplify. You accept that healing, adjustment, or survival is consuming real energy. You stop calling reduced capacity a moral failure. The roots do not apologize when the weather changes their work. They respond to what is present. There will also be seasons when your capacity grows. You have more energy. A skill becomes easier. Support becomes available. The decision that once overwhelmed you becomes manageable. A door opens. In those seasons, humility remains useful. You do not have to rush because movement has become possible. You can build in a way that respects the roots. You can ask whether the opportunity fits your values, not only whether it flatters your ambition. You can consider sustainability. You can create structures that support the future rather than consuming everything for immediate growth. You can recognize that readiness includes the ability to say no to an opening that arrives at the wrong cost. Not every open door belongs to your direction. Some doors lead away from what you have been learning to protect. Some offer visibility without stability. Some offer money without respect. Some offer belonging in exchange for silence. Some offer speed while asking you to ignore essential details. Your strengthened mind can remain open without becoming easily persuaded. It can appreciate possibility and still read carefully. It can be hopeful and still ask who benefits. It can be generous and still recognize manipulation. It can trust and still require consistency. This is the mature form of openness. It does not fear every invitation. It does not accept every invitation. It meets each one with presence. You may worry that careful discernment will cause you to miss something important. The fear of missing out has filled many inner calendars. It creates appointments with every possible future. What if this is your only chance? What if someone else takes your place? What if waiting makes the door disappear? What if caution is merely cowardice? Sometimes an opportunity truly does have a deadline. In those cases, gather what information you can, consult appropriate support, and make the best decision available within the time you have. But artificial urgency is common. Pressure can be used to prevent reflection. A person or organization that benefits from your immediate agreement may describe thinking as weakness. Your need for a perfect answer can also create urgency from within. You may believe you must decide quickly so uncertainty will stop. Relief is not always proof that the decision is right. Sometimes relief comes because a decision has ended the questioning. The consequences arrive later. Give important choices the amount of time they deserve when time is available. This is not indecision. It is respect for consequence. Then, when the evaluation has been made, let yourself choose. Do not continue reopening the same decision merely because certainty remains incomplete. There comes a point when further thinking no longer produces new information. It only repeats old fear in new sentences. You may recognize this point by the way your questions begin circling. You have checked the facts. You have considered the main risks. You have sought relevant advice. You have identified what can and cannot be controlled. You understand that no option removes every cost. Still, the mind requests one more round, one more opinion, one more prediction, one more sign. At that moment, the open hour can become a place of commitment, not a commitment to the result, a commitment to the next chosen step. You can say, I have listened as honestly as I can. You can say, I will act on what I know and remain responsive to what I learn. You can say, I do not require this choice to prove my worth. Then you move. The bamboo does not flower by repeatedly reconsidering whether flowering is safe. When its season arrives, the process that has been forming enters visibility. Your action may also be the visible expression of a long private process. The boundary seems sudden to someone who did not witness the years of hesitation. The application seems bold to someone who did not witness the months of preparation. The ending seems abrupt to someone who did not witness the repeated attempts to repair. The beginning seems effortless to someone who did not witness the quiet practice. You do not need every observer to understand the roots of your decision. Understanding from others can be valuable, but it is not always available. Some people only recognize a process after it produces a result they respect. Some will question your direction because it changes their access to you. Some will call your preparation unnecessary because they did not carry the consequences of being unprepared. Some will call your pace slow because urgency benefits them. Some will call your choice selfish because your previous self made their life more convenient. Listen carefully. Not every criticism is wrong. Not every criticism is wise. You can examine feedback without handing over authorship of your life. Ask whether the person understands the situation. Ask whether they have demonstrated sound judgment in the area they are advising you about. Ask whether they respect your values and safety. Ask whether their words contain specific information or only emotional pressure. Ask whether they can tolerate your disagreement. A person can love you and still give poor advice. A person can disagree with you and still reveal something important. Discernment does not sort people into those who support every choice and those who must be rejected. It listens for substance. It checks motive where motive can be reasonably understood. It remains willing to correct course. This willingness to correct is one of the deepest forms of confidence. Fragile confidence must always appear right. Grounded confidence can say, I acted with the information I had, and now I know more. It can apologize. It can revise. It can end a plan without declaring the effort meaningless. It can return to an earlier stage. It can learn publicly. It can survive embarrassment. When being wrong no longer threatens your entire identity, you become more available to truth. You stop defending choices that are harming you merely because you once announced them with confidence. You stop remaining in unsuitable situations to protect an image of consistency. You stop confusing persistence with wisdom. The bamboo's long rhythm is not stubbornness. It is fidelity to a living process. Stubbornness repeats the same behavior while ignoring evidence. Fidelity stays connected to the deeper purpose while adapting to changing conditions. You can be faithful to your well-being and change the method. You can be faithful to meaningful work and change the role. You can be faithful to love and change the relationship. You can be faithful to growth and choose rest. You can be faithful to truth and admit that your earlier interpretation was incomplete. The deeper direction is not always attached to one outer form. A forest contains many stalks. Some rise higher, some bend. Some are lost to weather. Some create space for new growth. The life of the whole is not reduced to the fate of one stalk. In the same way, your purpose is larger than one attempt. One job can end without ending your capacity to contribute. One relationship can end without ending your capacity for connection. One project can fail without ending your creativity. One season can be quiet without ending your development. One decision can be mistaken without ending your ability to choose wisely again. This wider view brings resilience. You stop asking one result to carry the meaning of your entire life. You let each experience be important without making it absolute. Your mindset strengthens because it becomes less dependent on one narrow form of success. This does not mean you stop caring. It means care is no longer confused with control. You can care deeply and remain open. You can work diligently and admit that conditions matter. You can hope fully and refuse to make false guarantees to yourself. You can grieve honestly and remain available to another form of good. The forest's flowering is extraordinary, partly because it does not happen every season. Its rarity does not make the years between empty. The long interval creates a different relationship with expectation. No one can visit every morning demanding evidence. The scale of the rhythm makes daily impatience appear almost absurd. Yet human impatience deserves compassion. Your life is finite. Some opportunities are time-sensitive, some days. Iris cannot be postponed indefinitely without cost. You are allowed to care about time. You are allowed to make plans. You are allowed to respond when waiting has become avoidance. Patience is not an instruction to postpone your life. The lesson is not that you must wait 60 years. The lesson is that development has rhythms that cannot always be judged by daily visibility. Some changes happen quickly. Others require repetition. A habit may begin changing today and take months to become stable. A boundary may be spoken once and require many later acts to become real. A new way of thinking may feel clear during calm moments and disappear under stress until it has been practiced enough to remain available. This is normal. Do not mistake inconsistency during learning for proof that no learning has occurred. A new path through the mind becomes stronger through use. The old path may remain easier for a while because it has been traveled thousands of times. You may understand that comparison is harmful and still compare tomorrow. You may believe rest is valuable and still feel guilty while resting. You may recognize that another person's reaction is not yours to control and still feel responsible when they are upset. You may know a delay is not a verdict and still feel rejected. The return is the practice. You do not fail because you wandered into the old path. You strengthen the new one by returning without humiliation. This is how your inner direction becomes more audible. Not because all other voices vanish, because you stop giving them equal authority. The critical voice may speak. The inherited voice may speak. The frightened voice may speak. The voice that wants immediate approval may speak. You can hear them without arranging your entire life around their demands. You can thank the protective intention where one exists. You can check the information. You can choose from a deeper place. Let the core of this practice become simple. My mind strengthens through patient inner trust. Do not force yourself to believe more than you can honestly hold. Let the sentence rest beside you. My mind strengthens through patient inner trust. You are not claiming that every waiting period is wise. You are affirming your ability to grow steadier while timing remains uncertain. My mind strengthens through patient inner trust. The words do not require a dramatic feeling. They do not need to create immediate relief. A seed does not become false because the ground remains quiet after it is planted. Let the sentence enter the hidden structure. My mind strengthens through patient inner trust. You may feel resistance. A part of you may say that trust has already cost too much. It may remind you of times when you waited, believed, excused, or hoped beyond what the evidence supported. Respect that memory. The trust being invited now is not blind trust in every promise. It is trust in your growing ability to observe, respond, learn, and protect what matters. It is trust that you can remain open without abandoning evidence. It is trust that you can make a choice without guaranteeing the outcome. It is trust that you will not leave yourself alone with the consequences. If the full sentence feels too distant, choose a smaller willingness. I am willing to trust one honest step. That is enough. One honest step can be deeply practical. It may be writing down the decision you have been circling. It may be admitting what you are afraid will happen. It may be separating the likely outcome from the worst imaginable outcome. It may be identifying the support you would need if the difficult possibility occurred. It may be reviewing the pattern instead of focusing on the latest promise. It may be ending the search for perfect reassurance. It may be asking a direct question. It may be listening carefully to the answer. It may be giving yourself one night before responding. It may be taking action today because delay has already provided all the information it can. You will know the honest step by its relationship with reality. It does not require denial. It does not require theatrical certainty. It does not ask you to become someone else. It may frighten you, but it leaves you more whole. It may disappoint someone, but it does not require you to betray your deepest values. It may be small, but it changes your position. You are no longer only imagining movement. You are participating. The forest does not rush its hidden work, and it does not refuse its flowering when the season arrives. Both forms of wisdom belong to you. The wisdom to prepare without forcing. The wisdom to act without demanding certainty. The wisdom to let time contribute. The wisdom to stop using time as an excuse. The wisdom to remain flexible in form and steady in value. The wisdom to hear fear without becoming its servant. The wisdom to welcome support without surrendering your judgment. This is how guidance becomes lived. not as a mysterious voice separated from your daily choices. It appears in the way you handle information. It appears in the boundaries you honor. It appears in the pace you choose. It appears in the responsibility you accept. It appears in the pressure you decline. It appears in the correction you make after learning more. Your deeper direction is not waiting in a distant future. It is becoming visible through the quality of your participation now. The hour remains open. Within it, your mind is not being forced to flower. It is being taught how to trust its roots. Trusting your roots does not mean waiting for life to decide everything for you. It means you become less divided when your part becomes clear. You do not need to chase every possibility. You do not need to remain still in front of every possibility. You learn to recognize the difference between an opening that invites participation and an opening that demands self-betrayal. This is receiving readiness. It is not a posture of endless agreement. It is not the belief that every event should be accepted without question. It is not the expectation that good things will arrive while you remain disconnected from your choices. Receiving readiness is the ability to meet what comes with enough steadiness to see it accurately. You can welcome an opportunity and examine its terms. You can accept kindness without searching immediately for a hidden cost. You can hear praise without making it responsible for your worth. You can accept support without feeling that needing help has made you smaller. You can experience relief without becoming afraid that relief will be taken away. You can let a good moment be good without demanding that it guarantee the future. This may be harder than it sounds. A person who has lived through disappointment may become more comfortable preparing for loss than accepting care. A person who has been criticized may distrust recognition. A person who has had promises withdrawn may hesitate when something hopeful appears. A person who learned to earn every kindness may feel uneasy when support is freely offered. The mind can become so familiar with strain that ease feels suspicious. You may respond to a supportive moment by searching for the problem that has not yet appeared. You may get an encouraging message and immediately question whether the person truly meant it. You may reach a milestone and move the standard before allowing yourself to acknowledge it. You may be offered help and refuse because accepting would require you to admit that you cannot carry everything alone. You may tell yourself you are being independent. Sometimes you are protecting an old belief that support is unsafe. Readiness includes learning how to welcome what is healthy without losing discernment. Discernment remains present. You do not owe access to everyone who offers attention. You do not owe agreement to everyone who calls their request an opportunity. You do not owe trust before trust has been supported by consistent behavior. You do not owe gratitude for treatment that harms you merely because something useful came with it. You can appreciate one part of an experience and reject another. You can accept guidance without accepting control. You can accept assistance without giving away your voice. You can say thank you and still say no. Healthy openness does not erase your boundaries. It depends on them. A vessel without form cannot hold water. Your boundaries give form to your openness. They help you determine what can enter, what must remain outside, and what requires further observation. They approach at your time. They protect your attention. They protect the parts of your life that are still developing roots. You may once have believed that being open meant being endlessly available. You answered every request. You explained every decision. You gave more time than you had. You remained in conversations after respect had disappeared. You accepted emotional responsibility for reactions you did not create. You treated exhaustion as evidence that you were generous. The result was not greater harmony. The result was often confusion, resentment, and a weakening of the very inner voice you were trying to follow. A person who never protects quiet may struggle to hear themselves. A person who is always responding may forget how to choose. A person who treats every interruption as urgent may never remain with one direction long enough to strengthen it. The bamboo forest does not apologize for the shape of its growth. Each stalk occupies a place. Each root travels within limits created by the living ground around it. The forest is connected, but connection does not make every stalk identical. Your relationships also need both connection and distinction. You can care for another person without becoming responsible for their entire emotional weather. You can support someone without completing every task they avoid. You can listen without agreeing. You can forgive without restoring the same access. You can love without remaining in harm. You can hope another person grows without waiting indefinitely for that growth before you live your own life. These are not failures of compassion. They are ways compassion becomes sustainable. Without boundaries, kindness may turn into self-erasure. Without action, hope may turn into delay. Without evidence, trust may turn into denial. Without rest, effort may turn into depletion. You are learning to keep these truths together. The mind prefers simple categories: stay or leave, trust or doubt, act or wait, forgive or protect. But mature guidance often speaks through combinations. You may stay for now while preparing for change. You may trust one part of a person's behavior and remain cautious about another. You may act in one area while waiting in another. You may forgive internally and maintain an external boundary. You may hope for improvement and create a plan in case improvement does not come. Complexity is not confusion when the parts have been named honestly. It becomes confusion when you force yourself into an answer that ignores half of what you know. You are allowed to hold a layered truth. You can say, "I care, and this is not healthy for me." You can say, "I want the opportunity, and I need more information." You can say, "I am hopeful, and I am preparing responsibly." You can say, "I am afraid, and I still believe this step deserves consideration. You can say, I am not ready to decide today, and I will not delay forever. This language strengthens your capacity to remain present. You stop demanding that one feeling cancel another. You stop waiting for emotional simplicity before taking wise action. A bamboo forest can contain young shoots, mature stalks, broken stems, dry leaves, and hidden roots at the same time. Its truth is not reduced to one visible part. Your truth is also larger than one emotion. You may be grieving and growing. You may be tired and committed. You may be uncertain and moving. You may be disappointed and still open to another form of good. You may be stronger than you feel. Readiness is not measured only by confidence. Sometimes readiness appears as willingness. You are willing to have the conversation. You are willing to read the details. You are willing to ask for help. You are willing to consider a different route. You are willing to stop romanticizing what repeatedly drains you. You are willing to let a useful season begin quietly. Willingness does not need to be loud. A stalk does not announce each inch of growth. It responds to what sustains it. You can also respond to what sustains you. More sleep may sustain you. Clearer information may sustain you. A structured plan may sustain you. A supportive professional may sustain you. A community with healthy expectations may sustain you. Time away from constant input may sustain you. Honest financial planning may sustain you. A medical consultation may sustain you. A legal boundary may sustain you. A conversation with someone qualified and trustworthy may sustain you. Spiritual reflection and practical support do not have to compete. Inner peace does not require you to avoid real-world help. Taking action does not mean you lack faith. Seeking expertise does not mean your inner voice has failed. Your inner direction may be the part of you that recognizes when personal reflection is no longer enough. It may lead you toward information you do not possess. It may ask you to stop trying to solve a complex problem through thought alone. It may guide you to someone whose training can help you understand your choices more clearly. This, too, is readiness. You become available to assistance. You stop treating independence as the refusal of all support. Real independence includes the ability to choose support wisely. It includes knowing that accepting help does not make another person the owner of your life. You can listen, you can learn, you can evaluate, you can decide. There may be a fear beneath your resistance to support. You may worry that once you accept, you will owe more than you can give. You may worry that someone will use your need against you. You may worry that assistance will become control. These concerns may come from experience. Let them inform your boundaries. Ask clear questions. Understand expectations. Do not agree to conditions you have not examined. Choose support that respects your agency. Healthy help does not require you to become voiceless. It strengthens your ability to stand. The forest shares resources beneath the surface, yet each stalk still rises through its own place in the soil. Connection and selfhood can coexist. You do not need to choose between accepting and remaining yourself. The more secure your inner structure becomes, the less every gift feels dangerous. You can welcome advice without obeying automatically. You can accept affection without losing your standards. You can receive an opportunity without making it your entire identity. You can receive success without believing you must now maintain a flawless image. You can receive rest without defending it. You can receive an apology and still decide what level of trust is appropriate. You can receive a second chance and decide whether it truly supports growth. Not everything offered must be accepted. Not everything unfamiliar must be rejected. Readiness is the pause in which choice remains alive. That pause may be brief. It may be one breath before answering, one night before committing, one conversation before signing, one review of what has been promised, one check of whether the terms match the words, one return to your values. A pause is not always fear. Sometimes it is wisdom creating enough room to see. You have spent years believing that immediate responses prove confidence, but confidence can wait long enough to answer honestly. Confidence can say, "I need to consider this." Confidence can say, "Please send the details." Confidence can say, "That does not work for me." Confidence can say, "I am interested, but I cannot agree under pressure." Confidence can say, "I have changed my mind." The person who respects you may not enjoy every boundary, but respect can survive your clarity. The person who requires your confusion in order to remain comfortable was never asking for healthy openness. Your life does not need to be accessible to every demand. Protecting your attention matters because attention is one of the ways your future is built. What receives your repeated attention becomes easier to think about. What becomes easier to think about becomes more likely to shape your choices. If you repeatedly attend to danger, your mind becomes skilled at finding danger. If you repeatedly attend to comparison, your mind becomes skilled at locating evidence that you are behind. If you repeatedly attend to criticism, praise may become difficult to register. This does not mean you should ignore danger or reject useful criticism. It means you can choose a fuller field. You can attend to what is working. You can attend to the resource that has become available. You can attend to the small improvement. You can attend to the fact that you responded differently this time. You can attend to the person whose actions are dependable. You can attend to the part of the plan you can complete today. Attention does not create every condition. It influences which conditions become visible enough to guide you. A person who looks only for flowering may fail to see the health of the leaves. A person who looks only for rapid height may fail to examine the roots. A person who looks only for proof of delay may miss signs of preparation. Your attention can become more balanced. You can acknowledge what has not happened. You can also acknowledge what has. You can name the unanswered question. You can also name the knowledge you have gained. You can respect the distance remaining. You can also respect the ground already crossed. This prevents hope from becoming fantasy and realism from becoming hopelessness. Both are incomplete when separated. Hope without evidence can become a story used to avoid action. Evidence without openness can become a prison built from the past. Readiness brings them together. You examine what is true. You remain available to what may become possible. You take the next wise step without demanding proof of the entire path. There may be a part of you still asking how to know whether you are following inner direction or merely following desire. Desire is not automatically misleading. It can reveal what matters. It can point toward a neglected need. It can show you where life feels alive. But desire needs relationship with reality. Ask what the desire requires. Ask what it costs. Ask whether the form you want supports the deeper value beneath it. Ask whether you are drawn towards something or only trying to escape something else. Ask whether the choice respects your responsibilities. Ask whether the desire remains after the first excitement settles. Ask whether you are willing to participate in the less glamorous parts of what you say you want. You may desire meaningful work. Are you willing to learn, practice, revise, and tolerate slow development? You may desire a healthy relationship. Are you willing to communicate clearly, respect boundaries, and leave patterns that repeatedly violate them? You may desire financial stability. Are you willing to examine habits, seek accurate guidance, and make decisions that may not produce immediate pleasure? You may desire peace. Are you willing to stop feeding conflicts that give you a temporary sense of importance? You may desire confidence. Are you willing to act before confidence becomes complete? Readiness is revealed through participation. It is easy to admire the flower. The deeper question is whether you are willing to care for the roots. This care may ask you to become consistent where you once relied on inspiration. It may ask you to repeat a simple practice after the excitement fades. It may ask you to protect time. It may ask you to finish. It may ask you to begin again. It may ask you to become patient with a process and impatient with an excuse. You will not always know which is which immediately. Keep returning to evidence. A process, even a slow one, contains learning, adaptation, or deepening capacity. An excuse repeats itself while protecting the same avoidance. A process may be difficult, but it changes you. An excuse may sound intelligent, but it leaves you in the same place. Be compassionate as you distinguish them. Harshness can make avoidance stronger because the mind begins hiding what it fears you will punish. Honesty becomes easier in an atmosphere of respect. You can say, "I have been avoiding this," without saying, "I am a failure." You can say, "I need more preparation," without pretending that preparation has already begun. You can say, I am not ready, and define what readiness would require. You can say, I am afraid, and decide whether fear is asking for caution, support, or practice. You can say, I want this, and remain willing to discover that another form may serve you better. This is how your inner guidance becomes practical. It moves from feeling into relationship with behavior. The next step may not be dramatic. It may be placing the document where you will see it tomorrow. It may be setting aside a small amount of money. It may be reducing contact with someone whose words repeatedly disturb your clarity. It may be creating a list of questions for an appointment. It may be telling the truth to one trustworthy person. It may be changing your environment enough to support a different habit. It may be accepting that motivation is unreliable and creating a structure instead. The roots grow through contact, not intention alone. Your life also changes through repeated contact with what supports the direction you have chosen. A single decision can open the path. A structure helps you keep walking it. This is why strength and support belong together. You can believe in your capacity and still create reminders. You can trust your values and still write them down before a difficult conversation. You can respect your direction and still ask someone to hold you accountable. You can be spiritually grounded and still use calendars, budgets, agreements, plans, and professional resources. Practical tools do not make your inner life less meaningful. They give it form. A forest depends on invisible processes, but it also depends on actual water, soil, and light. Your growth also requires conditions. Do not shame yourself for needing them. You are not meant to thrive without rest, nourishment, safety, information, or support. When one of these is missing, the answer is not always to think more positively. The answer may be to change the condition where change is possible. You may need to leave the room. You may need to reduce the commitment. You may need to ask for compensation. You may need to seek treatment. You may need to study the contract. You may need to end the secrecy. You may need to call someone. You may need to sleep. Here is wisdom in recognizing the physical ground beneath a spiritual hope. The strongest mindset does not float above life. It meets life. It accepts that the body has limits. It accepts that consequences exist. It accepts that other people make choices. It accepts that systems can be unfair. It accepts that some losses cannot be explained into happiness. Then it asks, how can I remain present, protected, and responsive here? This question keeps you connected to your influence. It does not confuse influence with total control. You may influence a conversation through honesty. You cannot control the other person's response. You may improve your preparation. You cannot guarantee the opportunity. You may care for your health. You cannot command every outcome. You may love someone. You cannot make them choose growth. You may create meaningful work. You cannot decide how quickly it will be recognized. Recognizing these limits can bring grief. It can also return energy. You stop spending your inner resources on arguments with reality. You redirect them toward participation. You prepare the soil you can reach. You protect the roots you are responsible for. You respond to the season that is present. Then you leave space around what is not yours to command. This space is not surrender to hopelessness. It is freedom from impossible responsibility. The bamboo forest does not ask one stalk to control the flowering of the whole. Each part participates according to its nature and condition. You are not responsible for arranging every person, event, and outcome into the pattern you prefer. You are responsible for the honesty of your participation. You can meet today with integrity. You can make the next decision with care. You can remain available to correction. You can protect your well-being. You can receive what supports life. You can decline what requires your diminishment. This is enough work for one human heart. You may still wish for reassurance. You may still want to know that the path ahead will be kind. There is nothing wrong with that wish. Let reassurance come from something more reliable than prediction. Let it come from the knowledge that you are learning to respond. Let it come from the boundaries you now understand. Let it come from the support you are willing to seek. Let it come from the evidence that you have survived changes you once believed would end you. Let it come from the fact that you can revise. Let it come from your growing refusal to abandon yourself. This reassurance does not say nothing difficult will happen. It says, I will meet what happens with more honesty than before. It says, I will not confuse suffering with destiny. It says, I will not make one setback the final word. It says, I will use help. It says, I will listen. It says, I will act when action becomes mine. A mindset becomes trustworthy when it supports these commitments, not when it produces constant pleasant emotion, not when it avoids every doubt, not when it makes you appear fearless. A trustworthy mind helps you return to the facts, return to your values, return to your body's real needs, return to the distinction between what is yours and what belongs to others. Return to the next step. If these reflections are helping you walk this path with greater steadiness, you can subscribe and continue through all 21 steps of this journey, returning whenever you need another quiet hour for the roots. Then let the words pass without pressure. No decision has to be forced. The forest does not chase the listener. It keeps growing. Your practice can have the same quiet dignity. You do not need to convince anyone that your inner work is real. You do not need to defend the pace of every change. You do not need to turn each insight into an announcement. Some understandings become stronger when they are lived before they are explained. Let your boundaries become visible through consistency. Let your values become visible through choices. Let your growing trust become visible through the way you respond when certainty is unavailable. This is the flowering that begins before the flower. A changed response. A calmer question. a refusal to exaggerate, a willingness to ask for help, a decision made from evidence rather than pressure, a hope held without a demand. A life begins changing in these moments. The outer result may come later. The inner structure is already participating. You can receive this truth without turning it into another standard you must meet perfectly. There will be days when you overthink again. There will be moments when old urgency returns. There will be choices you revisit too many times. There may be boundaries you state unevenly. There may be help you resist before accepting. The path remains available. You return. The bamboo does not stop belonging to its rhythm because one season is harsh. Your direction does not vanish because one day is difficult. Return to the smaller willingness. I am willing to trust one honest step. Let that step be enough for now. One step does not need to prove the entire journey. One route does not need to display the whole forest. One quiet choice can still support a future you cannot yet see. The hour remains open. Within it, you can receive without grasping. You can protect without closing. You can act without forcing. You can wait without disappearing. You can remain rooted while life continues to move around you. Readiness is not a performance. It is your growing capacity to meet what comes without leaving yourself behind. You do not have to carry the entire forest in one thought. Your mind has already worked hard. It has reviewed the same possibilities from several angles. It has tried to protect you by remaining alert. It has searched for certainty where only participation was available. Now the work can become quieter. The roots do not need another argument. They need contact with what sustains them. Let your attention move away from the farthest outcome. Bring it back to the life directly around you. There may still be unanswered questions. Let them remain unanswered for this hour. There may still be decisions approaching. Let them approach without dragging them into the present before their time. There may still be responsibilities waiting. You can meet them when action becomes useful. Rest is not the abandonment of responsibility. It is part of the condition from which responsible action becomes possible. A tired mind can mistake urgency for importance. It can treat every unfinished task as equally serious. It can keep the body prepared for an emergency that has not arrived. The answer is not to shame the mind. The answer is to give it a smaller field, this breath, this room, this moment of contact with the ground beneath you. You are not being asked to solve what cannot be solved tonight. You are being invited to stop rehearsing the same uncertainty as though repetition could turn it into knowledge. The bamboo does not dig up its roots each evening to check whether they have grown. It does not interrupt its own living process to demand visible evidence. It remains in relationship with the soil. You can remain in relationship with your own life without inspecting every hidden part. Some change needs privacy. Some understanding becomes clearer when it is not being questioned every hour. Some strength grows because you stop demanding that it prove itself. This quiet is not empty. It contains the work already completed. It contains the conversations that taught you what no longer fits. It contains the times you chose differently even while doubt remained. It contains the boundaries that once seemed impossible and later became necessary. It contains the support you finally accepted. It contains the truth you stopped minimizing. It contains the ordinary ways you have been returning to yourself. You may not have called these moments progress. They are part of the living structure. The forest does not separate one season from another and declare that only the flowering mattered. The years belong to the same rhythm. Your quiet choices also belong to the result, even when the result is still unnamed. You can let that be enough. You can let the roots work without constant supervision. The mind may still offer another thought, another possibility, another reason to stay mentally busy. You do not need to follow every thought to its conclusion. A thought can pass through awareness without becoming an appointment. It can arrive and leave. It can speak without receiving your entire evening. You are not required to argue with it. You are not required to believe it. You are not required to replace it immediately with something brighter. You can recognize it as movement in the mind. Then you can return. Return to the space that remains open. Return to the fact that no prediction is needed in this moment. Return to the next honest level of willingness. You do not have to feel fearless. You do not have to become certain. You only need enough inner room to stop treating fear as the sole author of what comes next. Let the first sentence arrive. I trust the strength growing beneath my days. It does not need a dramatic response. Let it rest. I trust the strength growing beneath my days. You may not see every form that strength has taken. You may still judge yourself by an outer result. Yet something has changed each time you chose truth over performance. Something changed each time you asked for accurate information. Something changed each time you stopped calling harm patience. Something changed each time you rested before answering. Something changed each time you recognized that another person's urgency was not automatically your command. The roots remember repetition. They are shaped by what returns. Let these lines become a different kind of return. I can meet one step. I can wait wisely. I can act clearly. I can ask directly. I can listen fully. I can check facts. I can protect peace. I can choose slowly. I can move today. I can change course. I can seek support. I can receive care. I can remain myself. I can honor limits. I can respect timing. I can release pressure. I can stop chasing. I can hold hope. I can face truth. I can survive revision. I can learn openly. I can begin again. I can stay grounded. I can choose evidence. I can trust patterns. I can name needs. I can state boundaries. I can leave harm. I can welcome help. I can pause safely. I can decide honestly. I can carry uncertainty. I can value progress. I can protect growth. I can keep practicing. I can remain open. I can soften urgency. I can accept today. I can release comparison. I can trust preparation. I can respect my pace. I can hear myself. I can follow wisdom. I can take action. I can let go. I can stay present. I can meet change. I can trust one step. The sentences are not commands from outside you. They are reminders of capacities already present. You may not express each capacity perfectly. Perfection is not needed. A forest does not become less alive because one stalk bends. You are not disqualified because an old reaction returns. You are practicing a different relationship with that reaction. Before, fear may have entered and become the whole atmosphere. Now fear can enter and become one voice among several. There is also experience. There is information. There is care. There is the memory of what you have survived. There is the growing ability to ask for help. There is the right to pause. There is the option to revise. There is the grounded part of you that does not need to shout. Let that wider field remain visible. You are more than the strongest feeling of the hour. You are more than the result you are waiting for. You are more than the decision you have not yet made. You are more than the mistake you still revisit. A single event cannot contain the whole forest. A single season cannot define its complete rhythm. The mind may try to reduce your life to one question. Will this work? Will they stay? Will the opportunity come? Will the plan succeed? Will the waiting end? These questions matter because your hopes matter. But your life is larger than their answers. You remain a person worthy of care if the answer disappoints you. You remain capable of movement if the form changes. You remain connected to meaning if one path closes. You remain able to learn if one judgment proves incomplete. This wider truth does not remove grief. It gives grief a place that is not the whole landscape. You may still want what you want. You may still miss what you miss. You may still hope that the work becomes visible. You do not need to abandon desire in order to become steady. You only need to stop asking desire to guarantee your safety. Safety can also come from your boundaries, from your preparation, from the people you contact when you need support, from your willingness to leave what becomes harmful, from your ability to review facts, from your decision not to turn one outcome into a judgment on your worth. This is the support beneath hope, the roots beneath the flower. You may have tried to build confidence by repeating that nothing could go wrong. A deeper confidence says something else. Things may not unfold exactly as planned, and I can remain responsive. The result may change, and I can meet new information. Another person may choose differently, and I can protect my direction. I may feel disappointed, and I can still care for myself. I may need help, and I can seek it. I may need to begin again, and beginning again will not erase what I have learned. This confidence does not require life to become predictable. It grows from your relationship with yourself. You become less afraid of uncertainty when you know uncertainty will not make you abandon your values. You become less afraid of change when you know change will not silence your right to choose. You become less afraid of a mistake when you know you can correct without humiliation. The inner calendar opens further. One appointment with fear is released. One meeting with comparison is canceled. 1 hour of imagined disaster is returned to you. You do not have to use that hour perfectly. You can sit within it. You can sleep within it. You can let the body begin understanding what the mind has been learning. The body may have been listening to every frightening possibility as though it were already happening. It may have tightened around questions. It may have carried conversations that never occurred. It may have stayed ready to defend you while you were sitting safely in a quiet room. Thank the protective effort without extending the shift. The body does not need to remain on duty for every imagined future. Let it receive a different message. Nothing must be predicted now. Nothing must be proved now. Nothing must be forced now. The ground can hold your weight. The surface beneath you does not need you to become lighter before it supports you. Let the shoulders understand this. They do not need to carry tomorrow in advance. Let the jaw understand this. It does not need to hold back every unsaid truth for the rest of the day. Let the hands understand this. They do not need to grip a result while the result is still forming. Let the stomach understand this. It does not need to turn every unknown into a warning. Let the breath remain ordinary. It does not have to become deep or perfect. It only needs permission to continue without being hurried. Your body is not a problem to solve. It is part of the living ground. It has carried you through days you did not know how to enter. It has signaled needs that the mind sometimes ignored. It has asked for food, rest, movement, distance, care, and support. You can become more willing to listen without treating every sensation as a prediction. Some sensations ask for medical attention. Some ask for rest. Some reflect stress. Some pass. You do not have to interpret everything alone. You can respond responsibly. For this moment, you can let the body arrive where it already is. The back is supported. The arms are released from unnecessary work. The face does not need to maintain an expression. The tongue can rest. The eyes can soften their search. The forehead can release the effort to solve. The chest can have more room. The stomach can loosen its guard. The legs can become heavy. The feet can be still. You have arrived in this hour. You do not need to travel farther inside it. Let the inner reign continue. I am safe to pause. I am free to learn. I am willing to listen. I am allowed to revise. I am rooted in truth. I am open to support. I am patient with growth. I am honest about limits. I am ready for one step. I am not behind. I am still becoming. I am here now. The words are becoming shorter because less effort is needed. You do not need long explanations. The roots understand repetition. I trust myself. I trust time. I choose truth. I welcome clarity. I honor evidence. I protect peace. I accept support. I release pressure. I follow through. I remain open. I am grounded. I am willing. I am present. I can rest. Let the final lines become almost weightless, still rooted, still learning, still open, still here. Enough now. Rest here. The mind may continue moving at the edges. It does not need to become completely silent. A forest is not silent. Leaves move, stalks lean. Small sounds travel through the living space. Quiet does not mean the absence of movement. It means the movement no longer feels like a command. Your thoughts can become leaves in the wider forest. They appear. They shift. They pass beyond the center. The roots remain. The open hour remains. You do not need to guard it. You do not need to make anything happen within it. Let this hour belong to restoration. Let the growth beneath your days continue without explanation. Let the unanswered parts remain unfinished. Let unfinished mean unfinished, not doomed. Let slow mean slow, not impossible. Let uncertain mean uncertain, not unsafe. Let rest mean rest, not failure. Let one honest step remain enough. The whole forest is not asking you to flower tonight. It is asking you to stay in contact with what keeps you alive, the support beneath you, the breath moving through you, the truth you have learned, the help you can reach, the boundary you can keep, the next action you can take when morning comes. For now, there is nothing to chase. The season does not need to be pulled closer. The roots do not need to be inspected. You can stop measuring. You can stop comparing. You can stop asking this hour to reveal the whole future. The body is landing. The mind is arriving. The pressure is lowering. The inner space is widening. The roots are held. You are held by this moment, not by a promise that nothing will change, by the simple truth that you do not have to meet every change before it comes. You can meet this breath. You can meet this quiet. You can meet the ground. That is enough for now. The quiet does not need to disappear when you return to movement. It can travel with you. It can remain beneath the conversation, the decision, the work, and the ordinary responsibilities waiting beyond this hour. Inner steadiness is not useful only when the room is calm. It becomes meaningful when life begins moving again. The message arrives. The plan changes. Someone disagrees. A deadline approaches. An old fear returns with convincing language. You may feel the familiar impulse to fill every open space at once. You may want to predict, explain, defend, or decide before you have fully arrived. This time, the roots can answer first. They do not answer with a complete map. They answer with stability. You can pause without disappearing. You can listen without surrendering judgment. You can care without taking responsibility for every outcome. You can act without treating action as control. This is how the practice leaves the quiet hour and enters the rest of your life. You may not remember every sentence spoken here. You do not need to. Let one understanding remain. Your strength is not measured by how quickly you remove uncertainty. It is revealed by the way you meet uncertainty without abandoning truth. That truth may be simple. You need more information. You need rest. You need support. You need to begin. You need to stop. You need to admit that the present form of a hope is no longer healthy. You need to protect time for what has quietly become important. You need to let another person carry the responsibility that belongs to them. You need to accept that no choice will remove every uncomfortable feeling. The mind may try to make the truth more complicated because complexity delays action. It may ask for another week of analysis when the pattern is already clear. It may ask for immediate action when patient preparation is still needed. Return to the evidence. Return to the deeper value. Return to the smallest step that changes your relationship with the situation. A small step can be powerful. because it ends the illusion that you are completely trapped. You gather the information, you make the appointment, you place the boundary in words, you remove one unnecessary demand, you create 1 hour for the work that matters, you tell one trustworthy person what has been happening. You begin the practice again. You do not need to perform transformation. You need to participate in it. The bamboo forest does not create its great flowering through one final effort. The visible season belongs to every earlier exchange with the ground. Every ordinary day matters. Every return matters. Every decision that supports the roots matters. You may be living through one of those ordinary days now. Nothing may appear dramatic from the outside. You may still have the same responsibilities. The same room may surround you. The same unanswered question may remain. Yet a new relationship with the question has begun. It no longer owns every hour. It no longer decides your worth. It no longer has permission to turn uncertainty into self-punishment. You can carry it without becoming it. This is quiet freedom, not freedom from every circumstance. Freedom from the belief that one circumstance must occupy your whole inner life. A difficult conversation can be part of your day without becoming the definition of your day. A delay can be disappointing without becoming proof that your life is delayed. A mistake can require correction without becoming your identity. A closed door can matter without becoming the final description of possibility. A season of preparation can remain meaningful before anyone sees its result. Let the inner calendar stay less crowded. Not every thought deserves an appointment. Not every fear deserves a meeting. Not every opinion deserves a place at the table where you make your deepest decisions. Some thoughts can pass without being answered. Some questions can wait until more information exists. Some predictions can be recognized as attempts to escape the discomfort of not knowing. You are becoming more selective with your attention. This does not make you careless. It makes your care more usable. When attention is scattered across every possible future, very little remains for the present step. When attention returns, the step becomes clearer. You may discover that the step is not the one you expected. You thought you needed a final decision. You may only need a conversation. You thought you needed confidence. You may only need preparation. You thought you needed another sign. You may only need to accept the pattern already visible. You thought you needed to leave immediately. You may need a safe and practical plan. You thought you needed to wait longer. You may need to admit that waiting has become avoidance. Inner guidance becomes trustworthy when it remains connected to these distinctions. It does not flatter every desire. It does not repeat every fear. It does not ask you to ignore the physical conditions of your life. It helps you see more honestly. Sometimes honest seeing brings relief. Sometimes it brings grief. Sometimes the two arrive together. You realize that a path is open. You also realize that taking it will change relationships, routines, or expectations that once gave you a sense of identity. You recognize that a situation must end. You also recognize that ending it will not erase your care. You discover that you are ready. You also discover that readiness does not feel like fearlessness. Let complexity remain human. You are not required to reduce every experience to one emotion. You can move while carrying mixed feelings. You can choose while remaining tender. You can protect yourself without becoming hardened. You can forgive without reopening a harmful door. You can hope without promising yourself a particular ending. You can wait without surrendering your agency. The forest holds many conditions at once: light and shadow, young growth and old growth, dry leaves and living roots. The truth of the forest is not threatened by its complexity. Your truth is not threatened either. You do not need to feel only strong in order to be strong. You do not need to feel only calm in order to act calmly. You do not need to feel only hopeful in order to remain open. You are allowed to be a complete person while making an honest choice. This completeness is part of your inner foundation. You stop dividing yourself into acceptable and unacceptable parts. You stop believing that guidance can speak only after fear has been removed. You listen beneath fear. You ask what it protects. You take the useful information. You release the unnecessary command. Fear may say, "Do not move." The useful information may be, "Prepare carefully." Fear may say, "Trust no one." The useful information may be, "Let trust grow through consistency." Fear may say, "This must work." The useful information may be, "This matters deeply to you." Fear may say, "You cannot survive disappointment." The useful information may be, "Create support before taking the risk." This is how you transform reaction into discernment. You do not silence the protective voice. You translate it. You discover the need beneath its intensity. Then you meet that need with something more practical than endless worry. Information, preparation, boundaries, support, rest, a smaller step, a safer pace, a clear refusal, a responsible beginning. The mind becomes calmer when it sees that action is possible. It does not need to continue producing alarms when the message has been received and addressed. Some alarms may continue through habit. Let them fade through repeated evidence. Each time you respond without panic, the inner structure learns. Each time you protect yourself without closing every door, it learns. Each time you accept help without giving away your agency, it learns. Each time you survive a revision, it learns. Each time you meet uncertainty and remain present, it learns. This is the strengthening you were seeking, not an unbreakable mind, and a responsive mind. A mind that can bend without losing its roots. A mind that can face disappointment without making despair a permanent home. A mind that can welcome possibility without becoming blind to consequence. A mind that can hold a direction without demanding a deadline. You have not failed when you need to return to this understanding. Returning is how the understanding becomes lived. You may return tomorrow. You may return in the middle of a difficult conversation. You may return after saying yes too quickly. You may return after waiting too long. You may return while grieving. you may return while beginning. The open hour is not available only once. You create it each time you stop giving every inner space to pressure. You create it when you put down the phone, when you write what is true, when you refuse to continue an argument that has become cruel, when you ask for time, when you accept a practical answer instead of searching for a dramatic one, when you rest before the mind turns tiredness into prophecy. These choices clear space. Within that space, inner direction can become less theatrical and more reliable. It may sound like a sentence you have avoided because it seemed too simple. Finish the task, read the terms, call the person, leave the room, ask the question, wait until morning, take the opportunity, decline the pressure, seek professional help, protect the boundary, rest. A simple direction can still require courage. Do not dismiss it because it lacks mystery. The roots perform ordinary work. Water enters. Nourishment is exchanged. The structure deepens. The extraordinary flowering depends on processes too common to attract constant attention. Your life may also change through common acts performed with uncommon honesty. You keep the appointment. You tell the truth. You follow the plan. You review the evidence. You stop asking someone to become who they have repeatedly chosen not to be. You invest in the skill. You accept that progress needs structure. The bamboo is not less natural because it depends on soil and water. You are not less spiritually grounded because you need practical support. The inner and outer parts of life can cooperate. Your reflection can guide action. Your action can reveal what reflection alone could not. Your experience can refine your beliefs. Your beliefs can help you remain steady while experience unfolds. This cooperation is harmony, not the absence of difficulty, not a guarantee of the desired result, a relationship between what you understand and how you live. You are becoming more able to live what you understand, slowly in some areas, quickly in others, unevenly when conditions are demanding. The pace does not need to become a judgment. Look for participation. Look for honesty. Look for the return. That is where the roots are thinning. There may be a future moment when something becomes visible. A decision brings relief. A practice produces skill. A boundary creates space. An opportunity arrives. A long season of preparation becomes useful in a way you could not have planned. You may look back and recognize that the quiet years were not empty. They were teaching you what you could hold. They were teaching you what you could no longer accept. They were teaching you how to remain present without immediate proof. If that visible moment comes, receive it. Do not rush past it. Do not move the standard before your heart has registered what happened. Let yourself acknowledge the flower. Let yourself say, "This matters." Let yourself appreciate what has opened without demanding that it remain forever. Receiving a good season is also a practice. You do not have to distrust joy in order to protect yourself. You do not have to reduce gratitude because loss is possible. Everything temporary is not meaningless. A flower does not need permanence to be real. A kind moment does not need to guarantee every future moment in order to be received. Let good be good while it is present. Let support be support. Let progress be progress. Let relief be relief. The mind may try to protect you by withholding recognition. It may say that celebration is unsafe. It may say that hope invites disappointment. It may say that acknowledging progress will make you careless. You can remain responsible without refusing joy. You can receive and remain grounded. You can appreciate and continue. You can honor the visible result while remembering the roots. Then, when another quiet season comes, you will not assume that life has stopped. You will know that cycles change. Some seasons are for visible expansion. Some are for repair. Some are for learning. Some are for release. Some are for waiting on conditions that cannot be forced. Your task is not to make every season look the same. Your task is to meet the present season with as much honesty as you can. Ask what it needs. Ask what it offers. Ask what must be protected. Ask what is ready to move. Ask what requires help. Then listen without demanding that every answer be pleasant. The strongest guidance often respects both hope and consequence. It does not offer fantasy. It offers relationship. A relationship with your own capacity to respond. A relationship with time. A relationship with evidence. A relationship with the deeper values beneath your changing plans. This relationship will continue after these words end. You will carry it into choices no script can make for you. That is as it should be. No voice outside you should replace your responsibility to think, learn, seek support, and decide. Let these words support your own discernment. Let them remind you that steadiness is available. Then let your life provide. The next information. The hour is beginning to close, but the space it created does not have to close with it. You can leave a place on the inner calendar, a place for the unexpected answer, a place for rest, a place for a wiser plan, a place for a form of good you have not yet imagined. You do not need to name what will enter. You do not need to schedule its arrival. You only need to stop filling every opening with fear before anything else has a chance to be seen. The forest has kept its rhythm without your supervision. Your life also contains processes you cannot hurry by watching them constantly. Give attention where attention becomes care. Release attention where attention has become control. Care for the roots. Respond to the season. Take the honest step. Then let time contribute what force cannot. The mind can soften now. The body can remain supported. The next responsibility can wait until its true hour. You have done enough thinking for this moment. You have opened a place within yourself that worry does not own. Keep one simple vow there. I meet my season with rooted trust. Good is finding its way to you. Your next true step can arrive quietly.